wasn't the best of performances from ECSTATIC on their map pick. And it's all down to the decider. Loser of this last map, essentially a best of one loser, is no longer part of Challenger League.
Yes, the slog through relegation will have to come in, and well, an Arquez tested in towards headshot, can't find any kills. It's Vasher to open things up. Kriaz through the smoke, finding a second, and Arquez finally getting taken down from the headshot angle. So a 3-on-3 into this retake. Decoy tossed out by Twist just to try and set the tone here for this retake. Shox has nailed another shot. Kriaz a second. And it's a Zello 1-on-3, Glock in hand, and while he has found a dink, there's still 2 more to go. And unfortunately, there just is too many men behind the wheel, and Finest they'll have themselves the pistol.
Yeah, really good start as well. I mean, for Finest there, they just played aggressive, didn't they? They just tried to bank off the back of their aim jewels, and they converted. I mean, Krios finds a 3k, Shock getting one as well, Sanguis and Veranicas. They just play off the back of the individual bouts, which led themselves that first round on the board. And on CT side as well, to start getting a little bit of momentum is a really good thing. But the only, I guess, counter to it is that you look up towards ECSTATIC, and they're going to force into this. And no surprises there with a bomb plant. Despite the round not going their way, going to pick up 3 Galils and a bit of utility to try and make this one work.
Yes, it is looking pretty good here for Finest. Winning that pistol, I mean, sure, the bomb plant does go a long way, but look at the rifles, man. Just outclassing ECSTATIC right now with what they have. Plessen launching in a smoke, and that is going to be a one-way for lane, if I'm not mistaken. Not going to be used to much avail, though. It's just a passive ramp control taken for the T side. Finest themselves looking like the more passive approach taken from them as well. They do have a deep read in towards B, so I guess that is something that's going for them. Static just being put in their place and playing for the long run, it feels like, with the utility.
Yeah, well, as we stand, it's still all 5 remaining alive. I think this is kind of one of the more important rounds of the early bits of momentum in towards this map number 3, isn't it? Because winner of this kind of guarantees themselves at least a couple of rounds of gap where they won't really be pressured too much. But speaking of pressure, look at the flank coming through. Bird from Sky, Zello all can be caught off guard and looking the right way, and there it is. Twist good for 1, not able to find the second, however, but they can just fall away in time. Anakin comes alive for one of his own, and that's just a rookie mistake. The Tech 9 comes in to try and deliver, but Manx gets dropped immediately.
It's doable, though, for the T side. All over the first. Bird from Sky going to need 3 more, and well, he has found a second. There's plenty of chances now as he can set the bomb down and set the tone, anticipating the retake. Twist at 54 points of health. Shots is going to be his biggest problem with the M4 in his hands, but the Galil in the palm of the Danes. Bird from Sky could be in for an absolute round here. Already about a third of the timer dropped. Bird from Sky looking towards ramp. If they're just to stick this defuse, this round is entirely won by Finest. And so for Twist, he taps, doesn't stick. Bird from Sky has to commit to some sort of peek. He's patiently waiting, and the take face comes in. Twist has got it covered. 1 HP the difference, but it is Finest to a second. 3 kills on a bomb plant. Respectable, though, for the T side.
Counter-terrorists win.
Well, heading into round 3, Finest themselves. M4s and an MP9 across the board. 4 AKs and a MAC-10. That's what the T side have got to cough up here into a 3rd round. Wondering if they can make the play. You know, look at that HE. Bird from Sky down to 68. Dafu from 37. That's a big advantage earned by Finest once again, and it's a full buy that they're walking into.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of these rounds for ECSTATIC where I was questioning it. I mean, to force in with only kind of roughly kind of 3.3k a person, it's such a risky thing. And who would have thought that ECSTATIC go for a force buy? I mean, it's just the ECSTATIC way of life. And, well, now look at them. They've got already a man disadvantage. Make that 2. Hang on a second, though. Daffy and Sky can buy for 1 apiece. Zello finding 1 more, and now things have changed hand. I question the force buy, but it actually looks like it's working.
Well, 1 kill going in the way of the CT side, a 2-on-2. Bird from Sky. That's unreal. He's going to set the bomb down as well, and it's a Twist 1-on-2. M4 smoke kit. So he's got the resources ready for the retake. Dafu launching in an elevator smoke of his own, but Twist is going to beat it by moving out. Moving in towards Headshot, going to try and take these early advantages, making all the noise in the world in the first place. First man and a second for Twist.
Wow.
Lining him up, shutting him down, and it's 3-4-3. Unreal times. Finest. Undefeated so far on Vertigo.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's such a good retake. In a 3 versus 2, it already looked done, especially because they were having to rotate over from the B site back towards A. It's a bit of a treacherous path. But, I mean, that's stunning. I mean, for Twist to find that double there, that's what they needed. For 3 consecutive rounds. And on CT side, we picking up this wealth of momentum is stunning. But I guess for ECSTATIC, bomb plants do consistently just give them the economy to work with, so they can fall by once again.
Flash dropped in. Nades tossed out. Tag damage already set in. Nicely done, Pleasant. He'll find the opener. Not without a response, though. ECSTATIC doing some decent damage in return. Problem is, it's not quite mad advantage damage. It's just that HP lead going in favor of them just a tad here. And so Finest in a good position to convert once more. That 5-on-4 is definitely something they can work with.
Yeah, I mean, for the CT side, all they have to do is just take a little bit more of a passive approach. And that's kind of what they've done oh so well. They don't really overextend. They don't try and do anything too special. But speaking of, Krios will fall. He swings from the sandbag position, gets caught off guard. Pleasant trying to make it a double, but be able to deliver a Dafu trade. And raw level. And now in favor once again of the T side.
How many times have we seen this situation unfold, and which side does it fold in favor of? Nice shot, nearly connecting with the AWP. It's the molly actually doing the damage, and well, there you go, in unison. It falls off the building, the 51st floor will fall from Zalo. Manx finds one more, and Arquez 1-on-2. Missed shot, Glock, the sidearm pulled, another miss with the AWP. And ECSTATIC finally on the board, 3-1, and the Danes can get behind their first.
Yeah, now finally can potentially be a little bit of a resurgence from them. 3-1, 2 rounds in it. And the force buys just working. I mean, they had the slight economy to work with. I was going to question the lack of the AWP, whether that could be potentially a bit of a mismatch with Anarchist having one of his own. But no, he didn't test over towards ramp. So they were okay. And speaking of, Zello with a one of his own in towards round number 5. You should expect it to go in favor of ECSTATIC because fighters have no economy to work with.
Well, smokes dropped in. Utility in general just going to be poured in. Well, they have set the bar very, very low here, ECSTATIC. Just a very slow pace, you know. Lost a couple of rounds they probably should have won previously, but nice need to kickstart this round. Pleasant looking for the wall bang through the yellow panels. Nothing to connect, and the pistols for Finest, they can't really afford to, I guess, lose out on, considering this was a forced buy as well, Neo.
Yeah, I mean, when you look towards Finest, they have to at least make this slightly damaging towards the economy of ECSTATIC. At least pick up kind of 2 kills to take some sort of silver lining away from this. And that's easier than done because they've only got the upgraded pistols you mentioned. This is the most that they can afford to bring into round number 5. It's a dire situation for the CT side. Where win this and ECSTATIC more or less guaranteed tying the game up, if not gaining a lead. And the boost comes through. Flash are going to find the first, Twist or 4, and he just keeps making his way deeper. But he pays the price, he walks straight towards the CZ.
It's looking pretty good for the pistols of Finest, but they can't hold on for long. Max and Dafu a kill each. Mac 10 going to find one low, and it will be converted. Bird from Sky to deliver. 4-on-1 scenario. Shots with a deagle. Has to pull off one of the sickest rounds for quite some time that I've witnessed here. And well, time ticking away. Don't think there's much opportunity for him to find the frags, and being towards B entirely, there is no opportunity whatsoever. Just sitting behind the stairs in front of the B entrance, in towards T spawn. Done and dusted, mate. This is it. Second round on the board for ECSTATIC. The come up here for the T side. For a team that rehearsed so well previously on Vertigo and did so much out on Vertigo. Safe to say that these guys could actually find themselves a pretty good pocket of momentum, it feels like, out on the T side.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, on T side so far, ECSTATIC are in that driver's seat. It's looking very good over towards the ECSTATIC camp, and same can't really be said for Finest. They've got kind of roughly at the very most 3.1k in the hands of Anakin to work with. He's not going to invest into this as he wants to pick up an AWP coming in towards the next round. So Potentially and realistically, this should give up that lead. And ECSTATIC be able to tie this game up 3 rounds apiece. No investment apart from that one Deagle for Shocks and a small amount of utilities to work with. It is a troublesome period for Finest, where on the CT side, they have lost hold of that momentum.
Yeah, it's been a bit difficult. Trouble times, going for the force buy in the previous as well was a risk that, unfortunately, did not pay off for the Finest camp. And so, heading into this round, safe to say there's plenty of chances here for ECSTATIC not only to tie the game, but will also very much run away with this one. Mollies is enough to force these players out. Fasher, Bird from Sky finding kills, as it's a double impact from the big man himself. Kriaz will take down one. Dafu's response, a shot, another 1-on-4 required. And, well, a dig through the wall and a nice first shot. Still 3 more to go. Tag damage, Zello eating a bit of shrapnel as well. But Manx eventually to take him down. And that is a brilliant time to be alive. Very nicely done. Good conversion. All in all, respectful stuff here for ECSTATIC to tie the game. Only a couple of casualties as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of those kind of rounds where you expect a casualty or two, but the priority, get that bomb down, get them around in their favor, and of course, more importantly, tying this game up. And now we look towards kind of the longevity side of things for these two sides, where for Finest, they're in a really troublesome space. Yes, a buy come through, but they could be caught in that brutal cycle once again, a full buy-in, lose the round. Double eco, rinse and repeat. That's a horrible position to be in. Twist falls knife at the wrong time, but finds double nonetheless. Manx will fall, Bird from Sky follows. And Shocks comes in for support too. Somehow, some way, he stayed alive there.
That is worrying. Very worrying indeed. Nade dropped in. A 2-on-5. ECSTATIC. I mean, they let their guard down just a little bit, and you mentioned Twist. A huge round from him. Gives Finest the brilliant opportunity and the building blocks to make it 4. And that's his side. I mean, he's got money, Neo, so we can see a buy in the next. Problem is, I don't think you're expecting this kind of response. Finest just passing with flying colours. Shocks fine in the 3rd, and all of a sudden, chalked up, done and dusted.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those that never should be kind of that one-sided. The first kill going the way, trade should come in, but we can accept the second. But even after that, Shocks getting a freebie of a kill in towards theirs. All of these pieces just will work perfectly in favor of Finest. And we were kind of mentioning that they were kind of right on a knife's edge there, kind of lose that round back into a double eco situation, the glass floor beneath them, and fortunately for them, they come out on top. And the 2 remaining of Zello and Dafu, especially with that AWP in play, they're not going to test the waters at all. It's going to be 20 seconds of us holding and waiting until Finest find their 4th.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult, isn't it, in this situation? I mean, you've got to save. There's no denying that. ECSTATIC have no chance of winning this round. Problem is,
of course,
you put up such little fight that the CT economy will only improve, and for them, that is worst case scenario. So as you can see, as the timer ticks away, we are just waiting for the end of the round. As you can see, nothing changes the outcome. A brilliant double, more or less solidified that one. Twist single-handedly taking them to that 4th. And Finest taking the lead once more here. CT side pretty definitive. I'm wondering if they can continue that hype, because ECSTATIC on their last limb when it comes to this buy.
They are. I mean, another kind of perfect place where we can talk about that glass floor, because ECSTATIC, yes, we're seeing a full buy come through, but it's only Zello who's got any sort of long-term economy. Molotov are coming close, but Twist going to be able to fall away relatively unscathed. Just a slight shock as the bullet flies past, but nothing to be found for ECSTATIC. That early bit of aggression over towards theirs, and now they have to just take a step back, hold down the aggression, and kind of figure out how they want to play this, because they can't keep doing the same thing of just holding W and hoping and praying that going aggressive works.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Very, very difficult indeed. Mathematically speaking as well, Finest winning this round puts them in pole position to win the half. And CT side is probably the least one-sided map we've seen today in terms of the percentages, but it's one that Finest more than willing to run away with. A 5-on-4 as the York picks up the first, and a swing in from Pleasant delivers the double down. 5-on-3, and ECSTATIC just losing piece by piece. It's 1 by 1 they crumble, and while Dafu's able to respond, he takes 85 in the matter, and a 2-on-4 needs to be recovered here for ECSTATIC. It's not looking likely for them.
No, it's not looking good as we stand me with Dafu low on HP, but I think too soon. Dafu good for one more bomb to go down as well. And now somewhat of a post bomb can be set up. Manx just going to get that Molotov dropped in. now they've got a bit of a lifeline extended because they know the rotation can't be made immediately from mid. But even still, the numbers in favor of finals, they have to go aggressive. They have to try and bring things level, and Daffy going to do exactly that. He's sitting close to personal, but he falls. One bullet's all that's needed. Kriya's looking to make it a second. Falling from the heavens, he delivers. Manx will fall. The retake successful, and Finest up to 5.
That's brilliant. Another round for Finest that goes their way, and the casualties are minimal. The T side, they're going to struggle financially. Finest only blossoming in terms of the economical standpoint that they have. And well, ECSTATIC on an eco, it's problematic. It's looking dull. It's looking bleak. And considering the latter part of this veto favoured the Danes so much, I think they're going to be very surprised to see how well Finest are playing. And a timeout probably called by them just to talk things through. We really need to see something change here. A pace change, something like that. They even go for a full buy in this round. I anticipated maybe it was just going to be pistols, but is this desperation, or is this, you know, thinking that they have a better chance than what we think?
That's the question, isn't it? That is the question. I mean, you look towards kind of the stats of this, and it's quite interesting to bring up. For ECSTATIC on Vertigo, it's arguably their strongest map, may I say. I mean, 19 times they've played it in the last 3 months. It's their most picked map with a 63% win rate. And then you look towards Finest. They played it 8 times in the last 3 months with a 38% win rate. I mean, there's stark differences. And on paper, this is a map that should go only one way. It should only be ECSTATIC. Realistically, whitewashing this one out of the question, but that's not the case so far. Finest 5-3 up and potentially up for a really strong half hit. Twist holding, 1-2 going his way. Manx and Dafu falling, nearly in for the third as well. Just a little bit of a tag to the legs, but Birth from Sky low on HP now.
And while Shox, he'll find one through the wall, through the smoke. Their odds only improve in this round. Zello, nice shot, great reactionary play for him to catch Kriyaz. Problem is, okay, sure, they have the bomb, but it's still a man advantage to untangle here as the Israeli, the big man, and Arquez, his AWP looking to strike. Unfortunately, what was the idea there?
Knife
I don't
out.
know. Sat with the knife out. I think he thought he had the movement, try and bait in the AWP shot and run away, but gets punished for it. Now a 2-on-2 and an entirely doable round here for ECSTATIC as they head towards A. One man on the back of the site of Plessen. I think he's going to be the VIP for this one. Shock's just going to try and draw these players in and force them to commit to sight, but no, Zello's got other plans. Another kill to his name. Does get peppered down in the end by the M4, but a great shot from Fasher, and it's 5-4. ECSTATIC back on the board.
Back in their winning ways, and that's not a bad way to do it, especially with the poor start. You know, Twist finding a double, and then Birth from Sky falling straight after to the hands of Shox. It was looking like it was a done affair, looking like it was comfortably only going to go one way, and well, it doesn't. Now only one round in. We mentioned, you know, this series has been a marathon, and it's looking like map number 3 might be more of exactly the same. These two sides inseparable.
Oh my good God, and Arquez. It's another clean shot and a clinical one at that, dropping Zello, who's had a fairly decent game on the AWP so far. Plessen, while falling, will do a bit of tag damage to Manx. Nothing too substantial happening, though, and ECSTATIC. It's just a very slow, I guess, chilled play here on Vertigo so far. They do not want anything to do with conceding any more than what they have.
Tempo. Oh, so slow. I mean, over towards ramp with the man disadvantage. The walk is straight in towards a crossfire. Fasher good for one. The quick trade and a double at that. Plessen drops the bomb and a Molotov on top of it. Keeps them at bay. And all in the hands of Birth from Sky has to come alive. But the IGL in a very precarious spot. He can afford the hands of Anarchist. If you're trusting anyone with a big green, it's that man from Israel who comes alive once again and leaves it just down to 1. Finest about to extend their lead to 2 once again.
Crazy. Unreal. Shots. He finds the last. It's Finest up to 6, and it's nigh on flawless. Kriaz the only casualty for the CT side. And well, this is a huge opportunity for them to run away with this half. Because again, the financial situation sour for the Danes. ECSTATIC in a position where, I mean, some players can eco, some players might have to force, and you can see in this round, they're wondering what they want to do. Dafu's invested in a deagle, but nothing else. Manx has taken an eco. This is a big miscommunication here for ECSTATIC. We've got 3 players ecoing, but 3 players investing so much that they won't be able to buy in the next anyway. Yeah,
exactly. And because of that, it now once again rings those alarm bells. I mean, as you mentioned, they won't be able to invest in. So this is a bit of a do or die situation where for the remainder of this first half, ECSTATIC are essentially banking on this one going in some way successful. You know, kind of at least finding a bomb plant, for example, or else they're going to be in for a, well, troublesome time, it's safe to say. In comes that utility in towards ramp and trying to flood their way forward. And Annika's going to make the all more passive approach, trying to spot on something. The healthy nade coming in, and Annika's finds two. The collateral nearly delivering on a third, but the orb dropped.
Into the hands of Fasher as well. He's had a standout best of 3 so far, but we're going to need heroics from him if they want to win this eco, or half buy, or force buy, whatever you want to call it. And well, it's Hush on the server right now. Fasher to toss the bomb towards lane. He himself will move towards Ivy as well. There's Dafu to pick up the C4. Kriaz getting tagged down. That's actually a big bit of information given up. They would have heard the bullet hit the flesh. So, okay, sure, a 3-on-3, but they know there's a man in lane, and Kriaz 1 point from death, but he's still alive. Fasher closing the gap on his angle as well, swings in. M4 still got it covered, 1 HP, but it's enough to take down the orb, and a flank coming in from Twist will be a double, and it's Finest up to 7.
One round away from guaranteeing a lead heading into our second half, which for Finest they definitely want, because we know how good ECSTATIC can be on this map, statistically speaking as well. But ECSTATIC going to call for a timeout. And I think, to be honest, Retro, it's not too bad of a decision, because it's actually mentioned. Look towards Bird from Sky, Zello, Dafu. Those guys can't really afford coming in towards this. But if you know ECSTATIC like the way we know ECSTATIC, I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a force here.
I mean, they did it so much on Ancient and took the big gamble. It didn't pay off there. I'm wondering, at this point in time where relegation's so close, do you want to be taking those same gambles, those similar, I guess, opportunities? But it might not be an opportunity is the problem. And while we do have a bit of a technical pause coming in, I would like to say, now that the days come to a close of Counter-Strike, we are the last game for Europe, at least. Being live here. It's been a long day, mate. After Overpass, I think we all wanted bed. Just a little bit. But you know what? I'm more than happy to stay up. You know, it's not exactly bedtime yet. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know, like, if I was going to stay up and cast some Counter-Strike, I think this is the perfect BO3 to do it. ECSTATIC down by 3. Finest themselves looking pretty good on this CT side. Wondering if it's going to be maximised into an 11-4 half, or if ECSTATIC can make do with what they've got.
Deep nade coming in towards ramp, not going to find too much for ECSTATIC. They actually play a bit more of a passive approach here in terms of their economic situation. They actually do eco. It's the first time we've seen it properly done when they could have potentially forced, but no, they actually go for the slightly smarter economic play. And I think that's probably because they're feeling that pressure a little bit. You know, for Manx and Fasher could have invested in towards rifles, didn't do so because they actually want to play out to potentially challenge in towards his first half. They were straight towards Kriaz. 1, 2, and 3 going his way. Manx in for the trade. But it's still a 4 versus 2. M4A1S collected. But there's not a lot to work with.
2-on-4 scenario, as you said. Okay, sure, it's a nice shot and some big damage. The problem is, it's just not looking likely here for ECSTATIC. It's an eco, so it's acceptable. And another shot goes their way. It's Dafu's Deagle to find 1, but I'm wondering if it's any made more than a single. Unfortunately not. Anarkes claiming his 10th soul on the server in the 12 rounds so far. Finest up to 8. Halftime success, pushing the payload ever closer to a decent halftime stoppage. And well, I think it's safe to say at this point in time, I would say ECSTATIC, they've really got to count their lucky stars. This buy means everything to them. If they want to keep things competitive, I feel like the investment here has to pay off.
It has to. And if they don't, this is where for ECSTATIC, they're going to be in for a really troublesome first half where we start to ask the question of, is things too little too late? You know, if Finest at double digits even in this first half, for ECSTATIC, it becomes a very tall mountain to climb to get back in towards this one. I don't know, starts to get really worrying. A full buy coming out, but failure to convert might be their last proper full buy of this first half.
Absolutely. Smoke tossed in. I do believe that's called the endpoint smoke. If my knowledge serves me correctly. Yes, I think they did it at the RMR, and it was where, like, Boros sat, or Max sat around the right side of the smoke, and he found, like, 2 kills from it. And since then, everyone's been using it, man. It's a super inventive nade. It's a one-way on the top side, so when you stand on like the railing to go up, you can just peek your head over the top.
There we go. Big up UKCS.
I wouldn't say big up, mate.
Big up UKCS, the best CS.
A bit of trivia for you. The last time a UK player made the major was Complexity in 2017. Key to the coach. And Death, of course, the player.
Yeah.
But,
Look at my
there you go.
knowledge. I'll take
Zello,
that. That'd be
speaking
an
of
pub
knowledge, he's found one. Bird from Sky a second. The read from ECSTATIC is pretty good. Shox has shown some resistance, as he is able to convert things to a 3-on-4, but still work cut out for Finest.
Oh. Work cut out indeed. I mean, so the numbers favouring the T side, but Finest making their rotations work in their favour. In comes the utility. Mang's still trying to make that cross, but he's going to be spotted in transition. Pleasant makes it a double as Fasher falls too. But Zello and Dafu leave this man all alone. Good for the first. Pleasant yet to take a point of damage as the bomb goes down in the hands of Zello. The AWB has to come alive here. Will he be given the ability to? The question, and yes he does. Zello with an AWP delivers, and just like that, a 5th round found for the ECSTATIC side, but only just.
Only just indeed. Man, that should never have been that close in that situation again. It was a 5-on-3. I mean, sure, the trade happens towards Minimal Neo, but should we really be talking one-on-ones? And should it be as close as pulling off the bomb and instantly having to hit an AWP flick? I mean, worrying. Really worrying. I mean, sure, ECSTATIC up to 5, but ideally, we need to see them win this round, reset that CT economy, and make it an 8-7. That's what you'd be hoping for, at least. Kriaz, aggressive, inventive towards ramp, and it's a double kill! The MP9 just finding damage, admittedly, at Arquez to pinch one away. But the same effect applies, a 5-on-3 in ECSTATIC, yet to fire a bullet in the direction of Finest.
Free smoking towards ramp as well. I mean, they can just lock out the forte and all collected. And well, once again, for ECSTATIC, I think they were just caught off guard, like a deer in headlights. Just didn't expect that sort of aggression to come through. And for Finest, they knew all too well that they were just going to have the drop, and well, they delivered. Now SoundQ's heard. Kriaz can just hold also close and personal. Good for one more, but from Sky will fall. Molotov in close and personal, but the Orb of Blessing coming alive makes it yet one more. And with 4 remaining alive, a 9th on the board for the CT side, and heading into the 15th and final round, they could get double digits here.
Yeah, this is scary, man. And the money for the T side, we've always talked about it. And the wear down of it has caused them into the panic mode, hitting the big red button, not for a pause, but just for some external assistance. It's Tech 9s, it's Deagles, it's Mac 10s, it's Galils. It's just not what Finest have, is my point. And heading into round 15, if this is the best that you can cough up, you best believe 10-5 looking likely. Nice shot from Bird from Sky. Will create some space towards middle, quickly cut out by the molly, just as a reactionary from Plesson's earlier engagement. And now for Finest, they hit the brakes, a more passive approach, and the passive default ran in round 15.
Yeah, so slow in the server right now. That tempo cut to a grinding halt, but I think that's the way ECSTATIC want to play this. They want to try and bait out a lot of that early CT utility because they want to go for that late pop, overwhelm the site if they can, and they're making their way up towards ramp. And I think, as we stand, Finest seem to have a slight inkling. They're holding a wait and expecting this to work in their favour. And if you've got any man meeting you there, you don't want it to be Anarchist, who so far this series has been a standout player. Twist, drop the smoke in personal, but they're fronting away and now towards ramp, but Bird from Sky leading the charge.
Kriaz in the flames will find one. Dafu a second with a Tech 9. Plesson's second AWP finding the feed quite early on here. Not waiting for the retake. No time wasted by Shox. He's going to emerge through the smoke. Dafu and Manx have got them both covered. And a huge misplay from the retake from Finest. Orchestrated a few seconds too early. And they've caught them with their pants down. Twisting a 1-on-3 to salvage a 10-5. And I said, if this is the best that you can cough up, you best believe Finest are taking 10. But to go against it all, we go to the break. 1-1 on the scoreline. 9-6 into the half. Let's see what we can cough up in the second half.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 9-6 of the half in favour of Finest. But a stark response needed from ECSTATIC, as this is map number 3. It's do or die. A loser of this is eliminated from Group B and ESL Challenger League.
Yeah, worrying times for both teams, hey.
Very much.
Yeah, pretty interesting, hey. Pretty interesting. And well, good start from an Arquez. Finest, of course, up by 3 heading into the second half. If they're up by 4, the CT side will be sent into full meltdown. And well, Flash has dropped in. Nice shot. Plesson doubles up. It's a great job from the Glocks. They close the gap. They find the frags. And there is no entry back into the site here for ECSTATIC. Bomb set down. Sure, maybe there's a kit dropped. I didn't see one originally. Doesn't matter anyway because it's Manx against 4. And what are the chances without Kevlar he can convert this round?
Unlikely. Not impossible, but improbable. And now it's impossible. Twist or deliver with 4 remaining alive. Finest find their 10th on the board. First side to double digits. And in terms of momentum, a T-side pistol round is humongous. It's monumental because now you look towards ECSTATIC. No matter what they do, they won't be able to pick up any sort of comfortable buy. They can at the very most force their way towards the MP9s and FAMASs, but that is at the very most. And well, you look over towards Finest on that T side. The Galils are coming out. The Mac 10 to support too. Shock's probably going to support with another Mac 10 as well. I mean, everything looking good in that camp for ECSTATIC. Their backs are against the wall now.
Yeah, bit of a timeout call. Bit of a relaxation period maybe for Finest. That's a lot of pressure off their backs. And I think it's going to be very difficult for Finest to lose this game from this POV, especially when the force play is taken like this. This is ECSTATIC's best chance to deny Finest of 12 rounds. You know, that's the big number. They'll be doubled up on what ECSTATIC have. So they've got to take everything with caution. A slow tone set here in round 17, but an Arca is going to eat a bullet. I think it's Zello's scout to find the early tag.
Yeah, he's only down to 44 points of HP. Now has to be a little bit more cautious of those pistols in play. And of course that FAMAS as well. It's foreboding in the hands of Fasher. He can make most things work. So you have to be cautious. But still, the firepower in favor of Finest. And so is the map control. They're just slowly pottering around, really, trying to find an opening.
Minute and 8 on the clock. Double nade set in. And a great triple boost. Fasher, he'll find the first. Executing twist out on lane. So that does become a bit difficult here for Finest to get back into. Fortunately for them, the gun isn't retrieved. And as the pressure builds in back towards short, Plesson at least to stand his ground for 1. Not the most undoable 3-on-4 scenario. Counter molly chucked in as well. Shock's thinking about taking face, and he will do so towards lane. But a silent attempt taken by Finest here. Manx still lurking out towards B, dropping the utility just to hinder. For Finest in general, still yet to make up their mind on where they want to go.
Utility popping over towards that A site as Shock's going to be caught off guard by the flash. Numbers favouring ECSTATIC as it's still trying to get that security in terms of the plant. And Flash with the FAMAS coming alive again. We question the mixed buy for ECSTATIC and it's delivering. Bomb trying to go down. Will it be denied? Is the question? It won't. It does go down, but that's all that they managed to find with 2 remaining alive. The retake successful and ECSTATIC to find a 7.
Crazy. I did say that if they didn't win this round, it's 12 on the board for Finest, and so where it comes in clutch, they do make it work. It's a 7th on the board. Finest still up by 3, and with a bomb plant, it does actually push them a fair wave. Going for a buy here, I think would be a little bit risky, but they do decide for it anyway. They're going to try and extrapolate the gap as much as possible here, Neo. And round 18 is the chance to do it. ECSTATIC, sure, they win a 7th, but Finest know that this is going to sting financially if they can pick up this round. And so for them, for the Swedish core, this would be a big round to win, especially with the worst weapons heading into this one.
We've questioned low buys, you know, there's kind of awkward ecos before, and ECSTATIC have quite a decent success rate with them. The question is now, what can Finest do? They've got a hero AK for Anakas, supported by a Mac 10 and a couple of Deagles to work with. Not the easiest buy, but definitely still doable. We've seen that kind of one rifle affair work before. And if you want anyone picking it up, having it in the hands of Anakas, I think, is probably a smart decision.
Well, lots of spam coming in. Round 18, pretty chill format for Finest, looking for the map control, looking to take it piece by piece. Well, Flash coming out, Fasher up close, will they anticipate this? No, Twist with his shoulder in the wall, he will not find anything, Bird from Sky finds a second, Fasher to double up individually, and all of a sudden, down to 2, Kriaz and Shox against it all. And ECSTATIC starting to find form on the CT side. We knew they were a force to be reckoned with. It was just about finding the initial momentum. Now they've found their groove. Is this where ECSTATIC can roll right through the Finest side? It's looking pretty promising. But for now, Kriaz at least going to find one, I guess, a consolation frag to the realm.
Potentially as well, they might even be kind of tempted to keep hold of that double rifle setup. There's 20 seconds left to work with, and they're not going to make their way on towards the side. Just keep hold of what they've got. An M4A1S, an AK-47, not the end of the world. Kriaz, tempting fate there, but he just about survives. And, well, that's a double rifle being saved for the Finest side. Not the end of the world. It gives them a little bit more of a fighting chance in towards round number 19. But ECSTATIC, now only 2 rounds behind. They're within an arm's reach now.
Very nice. Very, very nice here that, as you said, ECSTATIC bringing that gap down to where they want it to be. Finest, it's going to have to be another force buy. The save weapons in the previous only give one direction and one channel traffic for round 19. It's Deagles again. It's admittedly the 2 weapons saved that are going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, but it is entirely doable here. ECSTATIC, on the other hand, M4s, Galils. This is more or less a bonus for them. Dafu's really the only man that, should they lose this one, can't invest in the next, and so it becomes even more problematic. I am super worried here for Finest that this is where they start to slip that lead.
I know, right? I mean, it's getting to a point now where for Finest, what was looking like a really good first half from them is now starting to dwindle. Kind of a shadow of their former selves. And for ECSTATIC, on their CT side, they've found that security. Everything's starting to look very, very good in that camp. And the same can't be said for Finest. And once again, posturing now over towards that B side, slowly making their way forward. Mank's good for the first, making a second as well, and the third coming alive. Pistol pulled out, and he makes it 4. On for the ace, will he find it? Why did I question it? An ace for Manx, all 5 to his name for them to go within 1 of tying this game back up again.
What an emphatic way to do it as well. All 5 kills in his name, 0 casualties. It's looking so good right now for ECSTATIC. That's their 3rd in a row. Momentum starting to build, and the velocity in the Danish side. Finest themselves, it's pistols in this round, Neo. Nothing more than it. It's an eco. They have to take a breather, and more fortunately for ECSTATIC, a beautiful opportunity to tie the game.
It's a good opportunity. Kind of delivers the question, because Finest, again, that economic situation for the T side is struggling, to say the least. They are in a real dire strait right now, and with no stability in their economy and no kind of longevity either, they're starting to feel not only the pressure of this being a map 3 and decided to see if you get eliminated from ESLC, may I say. Off the money, not looking too good too. Dafu coming alive for a 3. Mags 1 more to his already impressive tally. Leaves Shox all alone in a 1 versus 4.
Pistols, man, what can you do? Okay, sure, there's 1 kill, consolation to it all. But Finest, after a great lead, they cannot hold it down, they cannot continue to provide. And that gap now closed up to nothing. It's even Stevens heading into round 21. ECSTATIC, if they lose any more players, it could get a bit worrying, but Manx only 1 shot to the body will mean 4 survive. And for ECSTATIC, the Danes themselves looking pretty good in recent times. That's now 4 in a row, Neo. It's starting to become just that tad more problematic. And for Finest, again, this is a deep investment. The eco in the last, it's 4 AKs in an AWP in the now. Should they lose this one, it's another eco, and ECSTATIC can just start to snowball. It is so tight now, just like map 1. Overpass was similar, back and forth Counter-Strike, exactly what we want to see in a map 3 setting.
That's exactly it. I mean, back and forth, as you mentioned, but I think the most important thing that you mentioned was that for Finest, they're in that troublesome spot. It's that rinse and repeat cycle of fall buy in, lose the round, double eco, and troublesome positions to be in. But not about start. Annika's with the AWP in his hand comes alive, and no surprises there. He has been stunning with the big green.
Yeah, unreal so far. See if they can continue to do so. Molly tossed in, flash out. Kriaz going to try and make some space with the utility. Finest not going with it though, opting to try and double take, I guess, in this situation. Neo, the shift towards B. Pleasant looking to be the first man of contact while ECSTATIC resume their 4A setup. Might even be 5A. I'm not sure where the... Oh, sorry, it is 4. One player's dead. I am very stupid. I was like, I wasn't ready to say there was a boost, because you know how the dots are, like, hidden?
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I get
ignore
you.
me.
I
But
get you.
fine,
I got you.
they've got an empty site, mate, and I'm wondering, is this the save call already here for ECSTATIC?
Yeah, that is the question, right? Is this that save call made already? Because, I mean, for ECSTATIC, they have the economy to work with, but is it worth going for it? No, I think the answer is no. Anarchist finds one more. Manx or 4. Yeah, just keep holding what they've got. I mean, the remaining CT side can just try and capitalize on that long-term economy to find long-term success. They don't need to overextend and try and force their way back into the site itself and kind of give up all the wealth of weapons they've got to work with. So they give up that lead, which is a kind of a small bump in the road. I think so far ECSTATIC have done enough for me to kind of already warrant quite a wealth of success in their favor. And I think giving up that lead once again by just one round is not going to be too much of a troublesome factor towards them when they're kind of deciding what they want to do heading in towards round number 22.
Yes, absolutely. And round 22 provides only the highest of needs here for Finest. Sure, they win the previous, but they're not out of the headlights just yet. The money that has just been churning away on the ECSTATIC camp, amalgamating to a second buy. They've got an AWP. They've pulled out all the stops in terms of the utility as well. It does get a bit dicey. Manx up close, will find one. Can't escape just yet. There's players looming all around, so Kriaz, he will find the trade, and ECSTATIC, I mean, inventive stuff. A gimmicky play towards ramp results in a man advantage. Just unfortunate they couldn't keep it.
Numbers raw level. Once again, Manica staying alive is the priority. He is the difference maker for Finest as they're rotating back over towards that A site. But ramp has been a bit of a troublesome period for them. They struggled to find that success. Bird from Sky initially taking that contact, but just going to take a bit more of an aggressive approach. This time, good for one. Untraded as well as he just keeps the numbers in his favor. And in comes that supporting utility. They can just lock off both ramp and the alleyway.
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity for them. If ECSTATIC can pick this round up, all-tie game, and Finest will be on the back burner financially. Fasher taking big damage on the entry, though, and he's got to be careful because the spam could continue. But with 35 seconds left, their choice is muddled up. They have to go for a play, and it's a big one through short. Kriaz spot in the shadow. Bird from Sky gone. 25 seconds left on the clock. They've got to get a move on here, the T side. Bomb set down. Fasher's found a single. Looking for the spam away, but the head tucked back. A nice shot from Dafu. They know the last is the planter, and the Dane's got his second. ECSTATIC 11. Finest 11. But 3 kills and a plant might just go a fairly long way for the Finest money. It was looking miserable heading out of that one, but into this one, 5k is the minimum. They can easily reinvest.
Yeah, they can. Easily. Tied once again. That's what I was saying about ECSTATIC. They didn't mind giving up that one-round lead because they can afford to do so. They know that they banked on themselves to kind of be able to turn things back in their favor. They do oh so well. Tied again. And for Finest, they now have to be very cautious of this round, number 23. Failure to convert here. Not only did they give up a lead towards ECSTATIC, but their economy's in the bin.
Yeah, it's rough times. It really is. Desperate measures now taken for Finest. Should they lose this round, that money is just so problematic. Well, teed up quite nicely. The start of this round, Dafu's nade to take shots to 65. Nice little flashbang, an inventive one right off the open gap. Flashing in the close corner gives him room to peek the angle on middle without the AWP scoped in on his peak. So, for now, a very slow approach, but a very methodical one taken. Flashbang in, and Zello, he's been lights out with the AWP so far, man. The step up for Wolfie, so far so good. Looking for a second. Yes, indeed, he connects. Just hasn't missed a shot, it seems, on the CT side. Finest down to 3. They recoup their resources as Kriaz has B ramp control, but it does not look likely for the outcome of this round. Dafu's rotated in. We've got an M4 on the back of the site already in the hands of Manx, and a second smoke chucked in to hinder, to delay. And, well, this might just be the ECSTATIC apocalypse. Dafu a second, and just like that, a 1-on-4 for Twist. No chance, buddy. Finest will concede a 12th, and they are looking very, very low down financially.
Exactly. I mean, Twist, don't test those waters. The only lifeline they've got so far is that AK-47. and 1.2k in his bank. They can't afford to drop that AK. Just stay as far away as you possibly can and, well, keep hold of what you've got. And that's exactly what they are going to do. The seconds count down to ECSTATIC taking yet another 1 round lead. A tentative lead, but this time a little bit more secure as we stand. They're going to break that economy of Finest. I mean, it's not going to look too good for them. Yeah, Pleasant and Shocks can fall by, but Kriya's gone and Anarchas will struggle.
Well, this does become even more problematic. A timeout called. Finest not in their best position for ECSTATIC. I mean, look at the money that they have. Dafu, he was at 10k plus heading into this round. Zello was sitting at a plump 7k. But from Sky came into this round nearly 7k. Fasha at like 9k. There's so much money on the ECSTATIC camp right now that Finest, they're going to need a multi-stage plan to basically eradicate all of the lead that ECSTATIC has. And this CT side, we know the power that it can hold, especially when money's looking as good as this. And for Finest, desperation starting to settle. They are 4 rounds away from being removed from ESL Challenger League Season 41 and have to battle out in relegation to see if they can keep their spot into Season 42. Times are desperate.
They are. I mean, as we stand, they're not looking too good in that camp, is it? The loser of this map, no longer present in Group B in ESL Challenger League, and this is a do-or-die situation with Finest at a 1-round deficit, and the buy doesn't quite support it. It's a hero AK-47, saved by Twist, and supported only by pistols. The pressure insurmountable on the shoulders of the Finest side, and that Swedish core has to come alive now.
And it's silence. Not broken just yet. A setup run, one-way smoke deployed towards the sandbag, and that basically eradicates any opportunity of pushing ramp. Your toes get spotted, you can't see the man, but a flashbang will do quite nicely to counter. Twist's AK to open up this round. Shots towards middle, going to try and catch some good timing, and well, it's a laboured spam, but he does get there in the end. Dafu gone, a 3-on-4, Finest. HP bars looking low, but at least the numbers game in their favour. 45 seconds left to rethink the plan. It's still looking like it's going to be an A play, but it's a lull. Finest, they want to keep this man advantage, and they want to make sure all their resources gathered in one area.
Well, how do they want to play it? They got the numbers, they don't have the firepower, but I guess at the very least, a double rifle to work with is better than nothing. As that tempo cut down to a grinding halt, but there are only 23 seconds to work with. They have to make a decision now. And they more or less have to commit over towards A. Fasha needs to be careful as the isolation comes alive. Shock's going to fall as well. Numbers will level. And Fasha survives on 1 point of HP. Not able to spot the cross, but the orb comes to life for more. Will he be able to deny? No, he won't. With second time of asking, the Tech 9 just running away to security just about.
And why does he re-peek? And Arquez runs right into the Orpazello. And now it's a Pleasant 1-on-2. And his angle hard cleared by Fasha. Arm spotted, taken down. ECSTATIC up to 13. What could have been, but an overpeak from an Arquez might have just cost them the series entirely. Money looking good for Finest to reinvest. But it is a one-and-done scenario. Should they lose, it feels like Vertigo, this series, and Finest here are all but done.
I think so. I mean, this is the last attempt. They can really kind of comfortably fall by into this. So, an AWP in the hands of Anarchas is at the very least a lifeline extended, but I feel for them. That pressure must be a brutal burden to bear with, and for Finest, they know how much this means to them. And they're once again testing the wards over towards that A-ramp position, but it's easier said than done. They've struggled here before.
Wow, mollies, everything tossed towards ramp early doors here for ECSTATIC. They believe this is going to be a pretty deep A setup. They would be correct in guessing. Nate goes in, Twist, eating the HE, shrapnel blasting everywhere, and will be rattled to half the bar. Kriaz will find the opener though, so for Finest, they're not done just yet. There is some fight here in the Swedish core. Zello back and forth between the sandbags, finds the first, looking for a second, missed attempt, but has a flashbang to try and get out of dodge. No molly tossed in yet. It now will be used, but it's a peek from Fasha that keeps him alive for seconds, as it's a double headshot kill, and it's all but done it seems. 55 seconds left. And Arquez shocks against the world to keep Finest dreams alive, and it just doesn't look too likely.
I think that's safe to say. A 3 versus 2, smoking towards Ali as well, denies that presence, and Franicus and Sharks, they might even just be tempted to just go for the safe call. They're struggling already, numbers dwindling, and so's the control over towards the A site, and all they have to do is try and clear that of sandbags, and somehow Atticus reacts in time. Fasher will fall, Shock's coming in for support as well. One man on towards the site, and he's cleared as well, somehow, some way. Finals have turned the tide, and it's left Manx all alone.
And it's a 1-on-2. He's got an AK and a kit, but no utility to work with, so whatever he faces, he's going to have to be dry. And he's found an Arquez. Orb gone. Shots left. Max has got them both.
No.
The absolute killer here on Vertigo. 20 and 15. Top in the server. This man cannot be stopped. It's a 1-on-2. And probably the most important clutch of the game. ECSTATIC 14. Finest 11. And you never kicked it down, man. But ECSTATIC might have just done so because it's 2 more rounds to keep them in ESL Challenger League Season 41. What is this game?
How is the turn that in his favor? It's stunning. Absolutely stunning to find the 1 versus 2. The first kill, yes, great. But the preemptive spray on towards side to deny, that's stunning from Manx. And he comes alive when needed most. 14-11 for finals at the very least. The bomb plant does give them that economy to work with in terms of a buy-in towards round number 26, but it's still on a knife's edge.
What are the chances that Finest can make things work? Some early damage done. Fasher and Bird from Sky. Even some lead through the smoke, but it's Twist to find the opener. Low HP, but doesn't matter. Corks open the round, but Fasher quickly to close the gap into a 4-on-4.
Fasher rotating back on towards the site. You two will come down once again in towards Ram, try and deny that presence. And I think the question now is for ECSTATIC, how do they want to play this? I think Fasher's tempted to go ever so slightly aggressive, but probably making the call just to be on the more passive side. Give up the control over towards Ram, but smoke dropped as well. Means that the clock becomes the worst enemy of Finest as the pressure starts to build in terms of time.
With 50 seconds left. Choices have to be made. Finest are 2 rounds away from losing, so this is a must-win. And for Fasher, it's a draw that only matters most. Dafu's double. Again, I said he was the killer. He seems to be more than just that. The exterminator across Vertigo. And he's just looked unreal. On rails, this ECSTATIC CT side. Bearing in mind they were 6-10 down. It's 15-11. Fasher's 3K. Dafu's double. And it's map point, series point, and elimination point for Finest. It's 4 in a row will go bust. And Vertigo seems to be their downfall.
I said diamonds are made under pressure, and they need all of the best performances now. We've seen some stunners throughout this series so far. I mean, Annika's kind of has been one of the highlight players. We've seen Korea has moments of brilliance too. Plaston has made a name for himself, but now it's do or die. This is where they have to come alive. 15-11, backs against the wall. The burden they bear in terms of that pressure is something that I would not wish once my enemy, but for Finest, this is their time to shine. And they have to come alive on the T side now, because this is what they need to do to survive and keep their spot at the ESL Challenger League.
Twist getting a cheeky boost over the top, having a look towards the white box. Nade dropped in. Kriaz, the lower half of the 2-man structure, will take a bit of early damage. Not too much though, and Twist to keep resuming this angle. Does spot the man on the left-hand side, and he'll be dropped for it. Manx the 5-on-4. Shots to trade. Pete coming in. Smoke going to be dropped out as well. Looking towards middle here. Manx seems to have an idea. Shots low as well, but he's found a kill. Zello's trade. Manx another. A 3-on-2. And it's all down to Monarquez. It's all down to the big man to keep Finest alive. And while he's found one, the HE could be the difference maker. The haymaker of the round does not land. And for Monarquez to slow the tone, Fasher and Zello, AWP and AK, plenty of utility as well. But as Monarquez moves forward, Monarquez is gone.